All right, welcome to another episode of the American Nightmare Podcast. This is episode number 31, recorded October 29th, 2020.
Good day.
Right.
Crank his tail, eh?
Oh, hey,
All right.
real quick before we let me just show you guys the I don't think I showed you the mask when I got it.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah, right. And it's got the Tom Savini
Signature?
signature on the side. Since it's Halloween, I'm gonna wear it to the office tomorrow.
Very nice.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet. Since it's Halloween, I figured I'd break that out.
Does it have a thing to put a filter in it?
Yeah. So the front of the mask, there's 4 little pieces of Velcro, and it came with like a cloth mask that sticks to the Velcro.
Yeah.
So then you just pull the mask out, wash it, and put it back in.
Oh,
Because
nice.
otherwise it looks like it wouldn't work, right? Like it's got big
Right,
ass
right.
holes in it.
All the holes and crap, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. I just
All right.
remembered to show you that.
Let's get started with some horror news. So, Creepshow Season 2 is coming out shortly, and it's featuring a whole bunch of all-star cast. I was very excited to see the number of people that are brought on cast. So I'm going to post a link to a quick little article that outlines who's in it. But here's a quick note. We got Marilyn Manson is going to be appearing this season.
Nice.
Ali Larder from The Rookie.
Sweet.
Iman Benson from Black AF. We have Barbara Crampton from Reanimator, of course. She's going to be in an episode. C. Thomas Howell is going to be in an episode.
Wow.
Denise Crosby from Star Trek Next Generation will be in an episode.
I don't think I know
Breckin Meyer from Robot Chicken. And Ted Raimi from The Evil Dead is going to appear in an episode. Along with Kevin Dillon and Eric Edelstein.
Wow, that is a good cat.
Yes. And it's going to feature 2 short stories by Joe Hill.
Those were the animated ones, right?
Yeah. Well, those were the first,
maybe
but
last
for
episode.
this season 2, they're going to have 2 new episodes in there. Yeah.
Sweet.
Very excited by that. There's a new trailer out for a movie called The Dark and the Wicked, and it looks scary as fuck.
Was that the trailer you put
I saw that. I saw that one.
Yeah,
I didn't get a chance to look at it yet.
Movie.
That's hitting theaters, right?
That's correct.
No. Are they open again?
Yes, some theaters are. Some theaters are. I know that here in California, there are drive-in theaters that are now open.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. And several theaters have resorted, at least here in downtown Long Beach, a theater that has a huge parking lot. They have an outdoor screen now.
Cool.
And it faces the ocean, so you really can't get free movies, but they can at least have one movie to make some money. I think movie theaters are going to be hurting majorly after this year.
Yeah, no doubt.
There's a bunch of chains that have filed for bankruptcy already, including Carmike Cinemas.
Yeah, I think AMC too. Maybe I think I heard, or at least
they filed Chapter 11, right? So they're restructuring.
Yeah. I thought I heard that.
Wow.
Not good
for the movie industry right now. Recent interview with Joe Hill says that he would love to remake the film Maximum Overdrive from 1986, originally directed by his father while high on cocaine.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. Someone asked him in an interview recently about one of his short stories being done in the new Creepshow. And he commented saying if it came down to directing, he would only direct if he ever had a chance to reboot Maximum Overdrive.
Huh.
If someone offered him a chance to write, direct, and relaunch a Maximum Overdrive movie, he would jump on it in a second. That's the only position where he could see himself wanting to direct.
You think he'd be high on cocaine?
Hopefully not. Maybe it would be a better movie.
Oh, come on, it was a good movie.
It was okay, but you could tell that the director, Stephen King,
Was high on
wasn't in
cocaine.
his right mind.
Shit.
Hulu has released a second trailer for their new thriller, Run, starring Sarah Paulson. I don't know if you got a chance to see that. We talked about it on the episode because they did have a trailer, but now the new one looks pretty different.
I haven't seen the new one.
Yeah, it seems really good. Just to break down the plot here from the Hulu website, says, they say you can never escape a mother's love, but for Chloe, that's not a comfort. It's a threat. There's something unnatural, even sinister about the relationship between Chloe and her mom.
It's sort of like a Misery kind of story, I think.
It's got to be based on a true story
I
about
think
that
like the mother
girl
like
from a
just
few
drugs her
years
and
ago.
keeps her under her
Yeah,
thumb,
yeah.
I guess.
The mom had like Munchausen by proxy, and she kept saying that the daughter was sick and gave her some injections and crap that made her not able to walk.
Yep.
You have to watch the second trailer. I didn't see it yet.
Yeah.
Is that out? It's not. So it's not out yet.
It's not out yet. They just released the second trailer for it. I'm not sure. Didn't see a date for when it's getting released. I gotta imagine it's going to be in the next few months or so.
Sarah Paulson's busy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For those of you that are into torture horror, talking about fans of Saw, there's a new torture film out and a new trailer called Sleepless Beauty. The trailer looks horrifying, but the plot is a young girl named Mila is kidnapped, and the unknown abductors keep her in an old garage. They talk to her through a loudspeaker and set strict rules. She must not sleep, but has to fulfill weird tasks, and everything that they prepared for her. It all looks like someone's sick idea of a gloomy entertainment. Still, the girl doesn't suspect that she's part of a ruthless experiment.
Interesting.
Sounds pretty good.
What's it called?
Yeah.
It's called Sleepless Beauty.
Sleepless Beauty. Okay.
It has been announced that A24 Studios is going to be redoing The Bride of Frankenstein, and it will have Scarlett Johansson as the star.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
I'm interested in that. Bride of Frankenstein was a great movie. And to see Scarlett Johansson in a modern remake of it, all right, I'll watch it.
I'm down.
Yeah. M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. His TV series Servant season 2 begins in January on Apple TV Plus. New trailer looks amazing, and if you haven't seen season 1, it's definitely worth watching. It's one of those
rare. He was working on a movie too, wasn't he? I think he has a new movie coming. I think he was working on a movie too.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that. Maybe, but his hit and miss with this guy. Hit and miss. That's why I was afraid to watch the series, but it was very good.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing about the series, though, is you don't have to invest a whole lot. You can watch like an episode or two, and with a movie,
if it's Fonzie jumping the shark, you can bail.
Yeah, with a movie, like you invest in a certain amount of it, and then you're like, I just got to finish watching this thing because I've already invested half of my life into this movie. So, well, not half my life, but you know what I mean.
I already paid my $15.
Yeah. Might as well stick it out.
Exactly. Netflix has released
the
new. What was it?
It's called Old. It's called Old. His new movie.
Old.
Yep.
We'll have to look into that one. Netflix has released a new trailer for the 4th and final season of The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Oh, final season? Well, I mean, she is going to hell, so.
Yeah. Now, the last season, I didn't really dig that much. There were too much fucking singing in it.
Yeah.
They brought in the singing stuff and.
Yeah.
This will
Vampire Slayer brought in the singing early, but.
Yeah. This will debut on December 31st. 4th and final season. Yep.
Nice. It's probably for the best. You get to a certain point and you belabor the point, and then it's like, ugh, they probably should just end this. So
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah. JoBlo.com has posted a small featurette video that offers some first official footage of Conjuring 3.
wow.
Sweet.
Looks pretty good. It's not going to be based on Amityville. It's going to be some other story, but it looks like it's going to be pretty good. They had some behind-the-scenes stuff. James Wan is not directing it. He is producing it, but he's on
Ooh.
set. And he says he's handed over to someone who has just as much love for the genre as he does.
Do we know who, or that's all he said?
I don't remember the gentleman's name.
No one you've heard of, though? Like, not a,
No.
like a...
Not someone that I'd go, oh, yeah, this is a great horror director. I can't wait. No.
Okay, got you.
For Halloween Day, Shudder is hosting a virtual event called Shudderfest. You can go to shudderfest.com to register, and you will be able to participate in the full live stream of the day's events.
That's cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah. New trailer is online for Vince Vaughn's slasher, Freaky, and the new trailer makes it look even better.
Dude, that looks really good. Like, it's like a twist on Freaky Friday, right?
Yeah.
Instead of like changing places with like the original concept was the mother and the daughter switch places. This is like she exchanges places with a serial killer.
Yeah.
Brilliant. It's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, it looks great.
I just saw it actually on an interview with Vince Vaughn about the movie.
Is that a Blumhouse?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I believe it is.
Blumhouse.
You know, Vince Vaughn lately has been in a lot of weird movies. That movie, The Binge, I don't know if you've seen that. It's a comedy, but it's kind of like The Purge, but instead of killing everyone one night a year, it's a night where every single drug is legal no matter what your age. It's called The Binge. Very funny, very good movie. Vince Vaughn in it. But the slasher movie called Freaky looks really good, where a girl, I guess she's a teenager or something, or like a cheerleader perhaps or something, and as she's runs into the serial killer, almost gets killed by him, switches bodies. It looks really interesting, something unique.
Great concept. Yeah, I think Vince Vaughn's only been doing weird movies because he's fallen out of favor in Hollywood.
Well, why do you think that is?
I believe his political leanings are a bit outside of mainstream Hollywood. So, you know, I'm not one of those kind of people that say, you know, you get blackballed for what it is you do. But, you know, you get to a certain level of, yeah, we don't really want to deal with him anymore. From what I gather, his political leanings are what caused him to fall out of favor. So he's taken these.
Oh, he does these indie. Yeah, I mean, that's all he's done is indie films.
Well, what was that Cell Block one? The one that
was supposed to be really good.
It was really good. It was a great movie.
Yeah, that wasn't mainstream though. Too, that was independent.
Yeah,
correct. Yeah.
He hit mainstream there for a while, but yeah, he's a bit. I think he's like a libertarian or something like that, or like I don't want to say he's a Trumper, but I believe he's you know there probably is some sort of like. Yeah, there is probably some sort of political thing going on in Hollywood. So, you know, like everywhere else.
My understanding is he actually is from Chicago. And he does have a place in Chicago, but he's also out here in LA. And he plays Dungeons and Dragons up in Los Angeles with what the hell's his name?
Jon Favreau?
No, who is the guy that played Flash in the original Spider-Man movie, Sam Raimi movie?
Oh yeah,
and he was in True Blood.
Yeah. Oh.
What the hell's his name? Now
you're gonna make
me have to look it up. No.
What character was he in True Blood? Was he Sam? No.
Yeah,
Joe Manganiello.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh, he was the werewolf.
Like Pittsburgh.
What? He's from Pennsylvania.
He's from Pittsburgh. Joe
he's from Pennsylvania, and he's married to that Sofia Vergara.
Sofia Vergara.
Yeah. And he has a dungeon underneath his house that used to be a wine cellar, and they turned it into a Dungeons and Dragons dungeon.
Dude,
And
that's
Tom
awesome.
Morello from Rage Against the Machine, Vince Vaughn, who apparently him and Tom Morello know each other pretty well. They both live near each other in Chicago. The two of them, a bunch of guys that are writers and producers from different TV shows. The two writers from Game of Thrones, they all play Dungeons and Dragons together at Joe's house.
That sounds like awesome. That'd be like that'd be a good podcast right there. Just all them dudes like playing Dungeons and Dragons together.
Yeah. They said they were even doing it over Zoom now because they can't get together, but they still want to play their game.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's funny. Dungeons and Dragons is making a major comeback, and out here in California, there's like a Dungeons and Dragons game every day of the week. You pick a different place to hang out, and there's Dungeons and Dragons games going on.
Role playing games are fun, and you got to figure, especially like fantasy. It's like a good escape from the bullshit that is 2020. You know, you submerge yourself in a different world, and even though you might get killed by a dragon or like tied up by some banshee, and at least it's not reality.
Yeah. The clusterfuck that is 2020.
Yeah. So speaking of 2020, two people that I know, my cousin, she lives in Alabama. She had a tree fall on her house during the hurricane a couple weeks ago, so her house was split in half by a tree.
Jesus.
And Kim's cousin, 2 weeks ago, her house burnt down. She lives down like near Philly.
Mm-hmm.
So 2020, yeah.
Yeah, fuck 2020. Damn. All right, that's it for the news. You guys got anything?
So I was thinking like one of the things we should add, and I'm not sure what part of the show we should add it. Like I know we review a movie, but if we watch, because like October I watch a lot of horror stuff.
I watch.
Like if we want to just like bring up like horror things we've watched over the month.
Yeah, we could, that's a great idea because when we started, believe it or not, if you listen to the first or second podcast, we used to talk about shows and other stuff before we did our movie review.
Right. Yeah. So, because I've had a whole bunch of stuff. There's a whole bunch of good shit that came out in this last month.
Yeah, there's sleepers, and we'll never talk about them because we don't. We've already seen them. I mean, I guess we could relive it at some point, but yeah, there's a lot of sleeping like movies out there that are awesome, and we don't get to share it typically. That's a good idea.
Yeah, just like maybe like brief like discussions of shit we've watched over the last month. We don't have to go into detail. Just hey, I saw this. You guys might dig it. Check it out. Like
that's a great idea.
Trying to figure out.
Even if it's bad, just mention it so you don't watch it. I mean, I saw this, I didn't like it. I saw this, I liked it. Yeah.
So, Mortuary Collection on Prime. I don't know if you guys have watched that yet.
No, it's in my queue.
Oh my god, it was awesome. It was really good. It seems to be, and this kind of carries over into the movie we reviewed for tonight. But there's a lot of anthologies coming out nowadays.
Yeah,
horror anthology seems to be big. Because besides Mortuary Collection, I've also watched Books of Blood on Hulu, which was based off that Clive Barker series.
Yes.
And that was pretty good too. I don't know if I liked it as much as I liked Mortuary Collection, but it was decent.
And that's on Prime. That's on Prime, right? I know I have it queued up.
Mortuary Collection's on Prime. Books of Blood is on Hulu.
Hulu, yeah.
Yeah, along the same lines. 2 nights ago, I watched We Summon the Darkness on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I saw the trailer for that. It actually looks really good. It's about
it goes along the lines of Satanic
girls, right?
Panic. I really like that.
Yeah. A bunch of high school girls that are like doing they go to like a heavy metal concert and meet up with some dudes. And
it takes place in the 80s. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the music that was in the trailer actually was pretty good, like metal music too.
Yeah, it was a pretty decent movie. Yeah.
So also I have we watched the first episode of The Haunting of Bly Manor. I don't know if you guys started on that yet.
Nope.
I watched the whole series.
We reviewed. I was thinking about maybe if we can review that one because we reviewed the Haunting of Hill House.
I just want to say that I watched the whole Bly Manor.
Okay.
You're disappointed?
Very much so.
You look disappointed. Really?
I was very, very, very disappointed.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
the first one was decent. We only
Well,
watched
it was
one.
great. I thought the first
Well,
one was great.
once you guys watch it, we should have a discussion about it because
Okay.
I want to express to you my the things that bother me the most about it. But I since you didn't watch it, we can't really talk about it. But
Okay.
I want to see if you agree with me or if I'm way off the mark.
All right. Yeah, that's cool. Also, the History of Horror on AMC.
Season
You
2.
guys been watching that?
Yep.
It's been really good. I think there's 3 episodes, right?
Yeah.
They did
Monsters, body horror,
and Hell House.
and houses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of Joe Hill in there.
I tell you, Joe Hill is quite the prolific writer.
Yeah,
when
he was
when
talking about.
when Stephen King passes on, like this guy's gonna be the new Stephen King, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny when you see him too. It's like, holy shit, looks like Stephen King.
The funniest thing of all, the original Creepshow.
Yeah, he was in it.
Yeah, he was the kid.
He was
Yeah,
the
he
little
was the kid.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think they point that out in History of Horror.
Yes.
Don't they?
He has a little interview, and he talks about being babysat by Tom Savini.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
I mean, could you imagine if you could tell
I'd
people,
love it,
Tom
right?
Savini was my babysitter?
I'm trying to imagine being babysat by Tom Savini. Like,
Yeah.
you think he's like making
Not only
like
that,
fucked up shit.
Joe Hill was babysat by Tom Savini on the set of Creepshow.
Wow.
So he said he got to be in the same room as Fluffy for a good portion of the time.
Nice.
And Fluffy is the
the
Tasmanian
monster
devil
from the
thing,
box.
the whatever that is, yeah.
The crate monster.
The crate monster, yeah.
And
All right.
my last one real quick was Lovecraft Country. That's been really good too.
Did you watch the whole season?
I think I'm like one behind yet. I haven't finished it yet.
I finished it.
The last one I watched was
it.
the one about Tulsa.
Yes.
When they burned the city down, and that was like amazing. I got a little bit emotional there at the end of that one.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, oh my god, like wow, like it's a great series.
I love the historical facts that they include. I love all the audio that they play during the intros and outros or mid-sections.
Isn't it funny? Like it's like modern music too. They play modern music during the show.
Yeah.
Like and they're back in 1930. It's like, whoa, it's crazy.
Yeah. It's a really good show.
They play like hip hop. You know what I mean? Back in the 19.
I found the end to be very surprising.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I haven't gotten to the end yet, so that was it. I just a couple of things that I've watched over the last month.
So is that it then, Sal? Like they're not gonna have a second season, right? That was the end.
Yeah. No, the second season.
There is gonna be a second season.
Yeah, which is surprising after the end, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't think. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I thought it was going to be like a True Detective kind of thing where it's they call it Lovecraft Country, but and have different stories every year or whatever. But
that's what I thought about Ratched too. Like I thought Ratched would be the same thing, but it looks like they're trying to angle for a second season of that as well.
Yeah,
I don't know about Ratched, man. I'm not impressed by it.
No,
it's okay. Yeah,
It's not what I expected it to be.
No.
Okay. It definitely seems like an American Horror Story.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, that's what it seems like a watered down version of American Horror Story.
Yeah, true. Good point. I didn't think it was bad though.
I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just disappointing. Because I really love Nurse Ratched. All right, let's get to our top 5. Top 5 this month is top 5 possession horror movies. All right, let me just
I don't know how
check.
I took a left turn, but
no, you know what? I think at the end of last episode we talked about masks.
We did talk about it.
And then halfway between there we decided on possession movies. So we could do masks next month. It's another good idea.
Yeah, definitely. All right, this month it is Craig, Chris, Sal.
All right.
All right then.
these are pretty obvious, I think, right? I mean,
there's a lot of them though. There's a lot of.
I know, there is
a lot to pick from.
No, I know there was, and one's like you don't really think about until like you think about it. All right, my number 5 was Annabelle.
Yeah. Good.
Number 4, The Conjuring.
Mm-hmm.
I went a lot of new stuff. Number 3, I went with Insidious.
Insidious is a great possession movie. Absolutely. Terrifying movie.
Yeah, for sure. Number 2, I went with Evil Dead Part 2.
Okay.
Very nice.
All right.
Number 1's obvious. Exorcist.
Yeah. Come on.
I mean,
it's classic. I mean, it's one of the,
And I got 2 honorable mentions. I got a whole bunch of honorable mentions, but I'll just do 2. Went with Hereditary and Christine.
Oh, Christine, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that one. That's a good one. I didn't even think about that, but definitely a possession movie.
Yeah. I know, and it's tough. You're like, how do you not like put Christine in your list? But it's like, there's just too many good. I went by scare factor.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Christine was scary when I was a kid, but it just, I don't know. It's a good movie. But like I said, it's crazy that I went with the 3 newer because I usually go with, a more nostalgic approach to. I thought, the newer Annabelle, Conjuring, Insidious.
Your audio dipped out there a minute.
You froze up for a second. Yeah, you're like. Yeah, no, that was a good list.
Excellent.
I'm second.
Yep.
Okay, so my number 5 was The Exorcist.
Wow.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure exactly when I made this list why I put certain things in certain positions, other than while I was making it. That's how I listed them.
Yeah.
Number 4, The Conjuring. Which I think was also your number 4. So that's
we jive there. Yep.
Number 3 for me was Event Horizon.
Okay.
Yes.
That movie always seems to make its way on my list if I can figure out a way to get it on there. I mean, that movie when I first watched it, like, really just creeped the shit out of me. Number 2, Hereditary.
Nice.
There were some scenes in that movie too where, and I remember when we discussed this the first time, we weren't sure if it was like mental illness or possession movie up until a certain point, right?
Yeah.
And then when it became obvious what it was, I was just like, damn, like it was creepy. Yeah. And then my number 1 is Evil Dead.
Which one? The first one?
Yeah, the first one. The first one. I mean, I remember the first time I watched that, I had to like pause it like for a bit because I was like just really, and now you look at it, it's like campy, it's a campy.
Yeah.
But when you're like 13 years old and you're watching it for the first time and you've never seen anything like that before,
scary.
It was scary as shit,
Yeah.
So. And then I have 2 honorable mentions: The Devil's Candy, which we reviewed once on here.
Yep.
That was a pretty good possession movie.
Devil's Candy is in our Lost episode.
Oh man, that's the Lost episode, huh?
Yeah.
Damn. And then my other honorable mention was the Evil Dead remake, because as much as I like the original, the remake they took away the camp and made it darker and creepier.
The creepy that was like it's creepy when the girl opened up the cellar.
Yeah, man. Like they
what did she say? We're gonna get something like that.
Yeah, like that girl
was creepy.
Really creepy. I mean, it like that they did a great job with that remake, and you're always worried when they do remakes of the classics, but that was just an amazing remake. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's a great list. Wow.
Thanks.
We have so many overlapping. All right. My number 5, The First Power.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, wow.
I forgot about that one too.
Lou Diamond Phillips.
Lou Diamond Phillips as an agent tracking down a killer who
That was a good movie.
Who's a satanic killer who killed himself and then possessed the bodies of other people to continue killing.
That was the name of the killer too, right? Was a satanic killer, right?
Yeah.
Totally forgot about that one.
I love that movie. I must have watched it a trillion times. I freaking love that movie.
Yeah, I did too. It was on a lot. It was on HBO a lot, I think.
My number 4, Amityville Horror, the original.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is creepy.
I remember being scared shitless when the walls were bleeding. I was a little kid and like seeing the scene with the walls bleeding and shit. I was like, bleh. My number 3, Event Horizon.
Oh, wow. Both number 3s.
Yeah, I know. My number 2, Devil's Candy.
Nice.
Part of the reason why I love that
is the soundtrack.
And that's the funny thing. That episode that we recorded, we reviewed that movie, and then we specifically talked about horror movie soundtracks.
Yep.
Yeah, and so maybe it was because of that soundtrack that it didn't record properly or disappeared.
Yeah, I don't know.
Weird ass. What the hell's the name of that group again that did that?
Sun O.
Yeah, that's it. Where that like super deep bass that when you hear it, you just feel like.
Yeah, it's like
I went to see those guys. I went to see those guys at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. They did a midnight show up here in the Hollywood Forever Cemetery up in Los Angeles, and it was a fucking amazing show.
Is that where Bela Lugosi's buried?
Yeah, all the Hollywood stars are up there.
Yeah,
it was a fantastic show. It was a private show. The tickets were $198 a piece.
Oof.
It was an intimate show. There wasn't a lot of people there, and they gave a speech and a rundown of all their gear, all their equipment, all their amplifiers. They bought from a bunch of them. They bought from Eddie Van Halen. They bought a couple from Michael Jackson, and then I think the last 2 that they just bought when they did that show. They bought them in England. They were white amplifiers, which was kind of weird. But they were white amplifiers that they bought from Prince.
Interesting.
From the Prince estate. But these are Sun amplifiers. That's what they named their band after. So,
yeah.
Oh,
my number 1, The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Because come on, that's the original. That scared the shit out of me as a kid.
God.
And even to this day,
here.
some of that stuff still holds up really well if you watch it today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, it's still kind of creepy when you watch it. Like, I don't think, because back when I first saw it, I still kind of believed in religion and stuff like that. So it was more creepier. But
Oh yeah, just like the cold breath in her voice, and it's still creepy, man.
I still kind of feel like weird.
It's just when she's like in bed and you just hear her gargle.
Yeah, the crucifix.
I still feel kind of weird watching that. Like, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't see this. Like,
your mother's cooks in hell.
Yeah, how old was she too back then, right? She was
like 12.
Yeah.
All right, and I have a couple honorable mentions. I have my first honorable mention is Hereditary. Fantastic movie. Just all these other ones, I felt something for them more than Hereditary. My number 2 is Evil Dead 2. I love the idea of the possessed hand. That was like the best part of that freaking movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then my number 3 is the Evil Dead remake, because that is just terrifying. They made all the possessions that much more scary. The girl under the steps when she cuts her tongue in half. Oh man, there were so many things that were just like.
Oh yeah.
And even when they're reading the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, like it's creepier. Like when Ash is reading the first one, it's not.
Yes.
There's not that maybe because now what it is when they're reading it, but yeah, it was just it was a lot creepier.
Yeah.
Great remake.
And I love how that ties into Lovecraft Country, because Lovecraft Country, rather than dealing with the Necronomicon, which is the Book of Dead Names, they have the Book of Names.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Good list.
Yeah, that was a fantastic list. I think
and
we should...
a lot of similar.
Yeah. I think next time we'll probably do Mask, and then we should think about revisiting soundtracks because we didn't get to make that one happen. That people could hear it, and it was a good episode.
Okay, it was the best
Which
episode so far, I think.
Yeah, which I
The
talked to my
Lost
daughter
episode is the
about
best one.
the other day because we watched, during Halloween, my daughter and I, we watch a horror movie almost every night. And then the other night we watched Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And of
Nice.
course, that was on my list of best soundtracks because the Dickies did the whole soundtrack for that movie.
See, you could have done that too. Trick or Treat is Possession and good horror soundtrack too.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. Fast Way. Such a great.
Yeah. Plus, it was Possession, right? Trick or Treat. I remember.
All right. This month's movie. Oh boy.
I watched it last night, man.
It was like the French movie. It
wasn't that bad.
I don't know.
There was some comedy in this one, at least, at the very least.
I know at least some nice stuff to look at. That's the only thing that held my attention. Because
I did pause it numerous times to see how much time was left.
Same here.
Rough getting
same here.
And to be honest,
go
ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say this movie, just for everyone to know, the movie this month is Verotika, right? This is a Glenn Danzig movie. Now, Glenn Danzig is a musician, right? He is from the band The Misfits, fantastic band. They're horror, sci-fi, punk rock. You've got the band Sam Hain, again, horror, sci-fi, punk rock. You got the band Danzig, fantastic. He does some great cover albums. He does a lot of great things in the music industry. He loves horror, and horror has been the themes of all of his bands. He also created a comic book company called Verotika that released multiple different stories on comic books. You had the Death Reaper, you had Vampirella. There was a bunch of great comics that came out of that company. And his love for horror movies and his extra cash made him come up with this idea. Let's write a movie. Let's make a movie.
Yeah, I was going to say, not a lot of extra cash.
Yeah, let me just say,
this movie came out about a year
ago. This movie came out about a year ago. It premiered in Los Angeles. And there was an article, and I posted it.
Showed it. It actually had a premiere for that thing.
Yeah, there was a premiere in Los Angeles. And it came out about a year ago, and I remember posting an article on our Facebook page and actually sending it to you guys too, saying that Glenn Danzig accidentally made the year's best comedy horror.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be comedy horror.
That's correct. So during the premiere of the film in Los Angeles, the audience laughed their asses off, and Glenn Danzig got pretty upset because it was not meant to be funny. But I will say this much. The direction of it was horrifically bad. There were a couple times where the cameraman missed the mark. Like, clearly. There were a couple scenes where you could even tell the actors didn't know when to stop acting. Right. And then they cut to black.
And then they would show the close-ups of the people who are supposed to be dead, and you could see their eyes like fluttering. I'm like, what the fuck? Are they dead or what? Like I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be dead, but Jesus, why show a close-up on them for extra minutes when their eyes are blinking?
Now just think of this. So this was written by Glenn Danzig. The soundtrack was by Glenn Danzig. And the direction was by Glenn Danzig.
Did he edit it too? He had to be the editor too, because there was some.
I don't know that he was the editor, but I know that he directed it. And I heard several people say that he had a very laissez-faire protocol when it came to directing, which clearly shown in the movie.
Oh my God, man, dude! And seriously, I felt like what I was watching was an 80s porno movie that they took all the sex scenes out of. Because that's how good
Skinamax horror.
That's how good the acting. Right? Yeah, like let's make a porno horror movie. And then
Yeah.
take all the sex out.
Yeah. It was like Edward penis hands minus the penis hands.
Oh, man.
The
But you know
story,
what?
the stories didn't make sense to me either. I don't know if it went like the endings, like they didn't end. It was just like they just like cut. It was like
And
it
why did the
didn't
girl
wrap up
have
the
eyeball
stories.
titties?
The stories didn't wrap up. It was like just it ended. It was
Yeah.
like
Like I
like
said,
what?
laissez-faire directing. It was just crap.
It's like,
It
Well,
just
and yeah, like
there's no
eyeball
meaning.
titties and Spider-Man. Like, what do those two things have in common? Like, why did the eyeball titty girl
Why did
have
she
a
have eyeballs on her titties?
Yeah, and why did she have these dreams of like killing people when we don't even know who she is?
And where
yes.
did the spider come? Yeah, it was just the weird. It's just like nothing made sound. Like okay.
And first of all,
Bad.
how did this sex worker come to have eyeballs on her nipples? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
And why, when she was dead, were the eyes crying? Like, shouldn't they be dead as well?
And did the eyes tears bring the spider to life, or did the
Yeah, but the weird thing
spider?
about that was the spider was over on the plant.
Fuck you in the
Yes.
ass and break your neck.
And then all of a sudden, the teardrop dropped, and the spider was over there. I'm like, well, how the hell did that teardrop even get on that spider? Like,
Dude, the French accents were the worst.
Oh my
oh
god!
Dude, that's why I was laughing. Like, listen to these people trying to pretend they're speaking French. I'm like, oh my
They're
god.
calling him Le Neck Breaker. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a good name for a giant spider, Le Neck Breaker.
Yeah.
We-
So just kind of
but the
taking
weird,
from this review of the premiere, to kind of bring some of this into that. So during an interview, the person who wrote the article said, speaking to Glenn Danzig, that he explained that story was supposed to be taking place in Paris. there was no indication of that at all.
No,
Other
it was
than
the
the
French
shitty
accent
French
should have gave
accent.
that away.
Yeah.
The shitty French accent gave
those
that.
were, dude.
Seriously, they were all
Yeah.
porno movie extras. That hey, we got to show some titties in this movie. Can you act? Yeah, I
Well,
can act.
the one stripper was in the last story too. I don't know if you caught on that.
Yes. Yeah.
Like from the second story, the one stripper was in the third story as like a peasant lady or something like that.
So you know what's weird though? When the movie started and we saw that girl with the crosses under her eyes, and she stuck her fingers in that chick's eyes, I was like, okay, this is cheesy, but not terrible. And then they went with like the intro music and stuff. I was like, oh, this intro music's kind of cool, and it was kind of trippy with the graphics and stuff that they did. I'm like, okay, this movie's gonna be all right. Like maybe it's gonna be okay. And then that first like thing, the albino spider like thing started, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be like Creepshow, but not Creepshow.
Yeah.
It was just bad.
So there's three stories. There's
Three stories. And she didn't even do a good job in between them. Like
No.
she was calling the audience something, my younglings or I don't even remember. Like it was.
Let me just say, this was a very unique movie. I'm gonna say,
was it the first time you saw it, Sal, or no?
Oh yeah, it was the first time I saw
Okay.
it. Yeah, I read about it. People saying it was horrible, but let me just say this: up in Los Angeles, there's a movie theater that plays it every Saturday night at midnight. It's like the new Rocky Horror.
Wow.
And apparently, a lot of people were going to see it up until COVID happened.
Really?
Yeah.
So, speaking of low budget, did you see like the first when they're in the movie theater? Like you have to go back and watch it, dude, because it's hilarious. Like the projector was a fan.
That was the second episode, right? The second one, the change of face. No, that was the first one. That was the first one. Really eyeball titties. Yeah.
So the projector in the movie theater was a fan with a light bulb behind it, and it gave you that impression that it was a flickering projector, dude. I was laughing my ass off.
I missed that.
Some special effects budget they got there.
Yeah.
All the money, all those extra.
And the face one was funny too, because like the killer supposedly killed 13 people, but there was only 7 faces hanging on the wall. I was like, dude,
the cops were funny. The cops were funny in that one.
The best part of that one is the two 3-minute stripper sequences.
Oh no, they were long, dude. I like watching strippers.
I timed
dude,
them.
I was like, let's
3.5
go.
minutes each. They were 3.5 minutes each.
It reminded me of that French fucking movie where they just kept dancing. I was like, enough
I was
already.
trying to figure out, is he trying to scare us or make us horny? Because those naked
Yeah.
chicks were.
No, I know they were good looking.
But that girl, the mystery girl, which is what her name was, the stripper.
Yeah.
Like she was mystery girl.
Killer.
Like she had the bad makeup on. Yeah, she had the bad makeup on to begin with, because you could see like it was like Trump's makeup. You could see where her eyes were, and then she put that fake ass face on over top of it, and then like with the mask, and she's like out there dancing. I'm like, no wonder those dudes are backing off. Like you can see like the cops were funny in that second one.
Yeah.
So my understanding is that from this interview that Glenn Danzig was trying to base that loosely off of the idea of, or inspired by, Eyes Without a Face by George Franju. The girl's name is Mystery.
Yeah.
Which that's great. And the stripping scenes were just, man, very drawn out, man. The drawn out. I felt like I paid for 3 lap dances during that. It was pretty.
Yep.
Yeah, that
the
was
third one was my favorite. I mean, if that
really
counts for anything, but
that was so like the second one was probably my favorite of the 3, because the cops I found were funny, even though the killing scenes were just like ridiculous. Like she like cut that guy on his face, and he like how she like was able to like manhandle that giant cop, and then just like cut him a little bit on his face, but then it was like bleeding like profusely. That third one, like that girl was always kind of like looking off like into the like just like smearing the blood on her face. And there was that scene where she was holding the grapes. She stood at those grapes.
Bizarre, wasn't it?
For like
Forever.
3 minutes, she's just staring at the grapes. I'm like, okay, these grapes are gonna have something to do with this scene somehow.
And it had nothing, and then she's like bringing like.
Then she goes to take the bath in the bath of the the virgins that she's.
Yep.
It's just, oh my god.
Well, the end of that too, like she just has the head, and that's how it ends. It's like,
and she kills them all different ways. There's not even like a ritual or anything like that. She's like, she kills the one that hangs him in the tub. She kills the one on an altar, which I don't know. Yeah, and then they're all just kind of like all over that room. Like I don't know. That
reminded me of Hostel too, a little bit.
Contessa of Blood was that last one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it was. And the scene where she just hung out in the mirror for a while was like, what the fuck what is going on here? Like I just it was not a good movie.
Yeah. So I guess we should like just try to tell each story. Like the first one was an albino spider
who was brought to life by some girl with eyeballs on her titties.
And when she fell asleep, he could kill. And
then she woke up and she drugged herself.
She drugged herself. Yeah, she drugged herself so she could sleep, and then she called the cops before she killed herself. And then the cops came and killed the spider.
Yeah. But he wasn't even a spider. He only had 6 legs. He only had 6.
Yes. Maybe his dick was 7.
The thing that bothered me the most.
His tongue is 8.
The thing that bothered me the most is they never bothered to tell you how the hell she got eyeballs as her tits.
Yeah, like what did that have to do with the story?
Yeah,
other than she was embarrassed by it.
Although the hooker was nice in that one too, with the pink little shorts on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hanging out in the alley there. Yeah. So that was the first story. The second story was a lady.
Change of face was the second.
But we don't know why her face was fucked up, right? I don't know.
Nope, and why she decided she was going to get new faces and like
because her face wasn't that bad. I mean, it wasn't
it wasn't even that bad, right? Yeah.
And they were talking to her, I guess, because she would go in and like talk to them and call them like she would like tell them, "Oh, I'm going to bring you a new friend."
Yeah.
And the faces on the wall looked like someone took like fruit roll-ups and just like bit eye holes out of them and just like stuck
and like I said, she killed 13 people and there was only 7 hanging on the wall. I was like.
She had the others in her purse or something.
He sort of overlooked that. Yeah, he sort of overlooked like she keeps one in her glove box in her car. I don't.
Yeah.
No, one of my favorite lines, and this is why I think people were laughing. This is why they found it funny. The cop shows up at the scene. He's like, I don't know, boss. It's pretty grisly. He's like, yeah, how grisly it? He's like, pretty grisly. Oh yeah, well, shit.
And just how I think it was that one where like she just like got really close. I'm like, how did you let this fucking lady get that close to you? She's got a knife, you got a fucking gun. It's like,
yeah.
it's so fake. Yeah.
And then the third
So
one
I
was that
guess
Contessa of Blood, and it was that woman that I guess she was like a queen or something.
yeah, I don't know.
The whole thing
She would
about that
stay
was all the
young
different
by
scenes. Like,
bathing in the blood of virgins.
And this was like back in medieval times.
the blood splatters were great in that one, though. That was my favorite part. Like each time she killed somebody, like the chick that she killed over the tub, and she tilted the head back so that the
Oh yeah.
blood would more. Just the different ways that the blood flowed in that in
Yeah.
that one was pretty.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part about that one.
Yeah,
Now,
that came out pretty strong, right? The blood
Yeah.
out of the neck. It was like,
According to the reviews that I've read, this movie has the potential and likely will become one of those movies like The Room, unintentionally funny and living some duration of its lifetime as a midnight movie for those campy horror comedy type situations.
I could see that. I mean,
I could see if I was horny and wanted to toss
Wanted
off
to jacket.
if you wanted to go like have some like we're laughing about it now, and like during while I was watching it, I was mostly thinking, oh my god, this is fucking terrible. Like I couldn't there was one or two scenes I laughed, but I didn't find it like funny. I found it funny that like
it was tough to get through. It was.
Yeah, let me just say, it was hard to get through. Like I forced myself to watch the whole thing just so we could review it, because before the second story, I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
Like I said, I kept pausing it. Like I was like, "Oh shit, how much time is left?"
And
in
they
this?
were only a
Luckily,
half hour each. You know what I mean? It was like,
right.
It was tough to get through a half-hour story.
I really almost didn't make it through the spider. Like the second two weren't quite as dumb, I think, as the spider. The spider one, like especially, it was a dumb French accent.
Yeah.
It was. I have no idea why she's got eyeballs in her titties, and I don't know why this spider guy with 6 legs is like her psyche going out and killing people. Like, why does she even want these people dead? Like, I don't know. But he says that he can kill when she's asleep. Why?
Yeah.
No explanations for anything.
Nope. Yeah. No ending either.
No.
He just
no.
Never wrapped anything up.
She said something like, "Maybe there's more stories for next time." Like, well, there's going to be a sequel to this, or
well, that's the thing. So let's be very clear about this.
He's got a lot
Glenn
of stories. I guess
did come out and say he's beginning to write a second movie.
Oh boy!
Maybe he's got a better budget this time.
He did recoup the costs of making the first one. Enough people watched it that he.
Well, it doesn't surprise me, I guess, but.
Well, and Shudder's got it, so you got to pay something to have it, right? Like,
well,
you can't just
and you have to remember that Glenn Danzig is a musician with a very big following, and I'm sure a large number of these people that watch that movie, like myself, are like, "Hey, I love Glenn Danzig. Verotika comics were awesome. He writes great songs. Maybe he can write a great movie." Clearly, he cannot. But
that first solo album he did, Danzig, was phenomenal. He didn't make a lot of money off that album.
Unbelievable album. Unbelievable.
Yeah. He's no Rob Zombie, that's for sure.
Right. Well, as far as movie making, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I was gonna say his music's good.
Yeah, no, Rob Zombie's filmmaking is pretty good. Like, I managed to just watch 3 from Hell last week for the first time.
It's a good movie.
Love it. Love that movie. It was a
great close to that trilogy.
Yeah. I still haven't seen that.
Love it.
I haven't seen 3 from Hell.
Love it. All right, so
the little Mexican midget in it was great.
Yep.
Where did you watch 3 from Hell, Sal? Because I have it's the only one I haven't seen.
It's on Shudder, I think.
Yep. Okay. I just watch it on Shudder. Dude, you got to buy Shudder.
I got to break down. I'm cutting the cable.
$5, man. It's $5.
I know. I'm cutting the cable. I'm gonna save like $150 a month. So
I look at it this way: if you pay for Shudder, as somebody who loves horror movies, you can't go wrong. There's a lot. But
I looked at the library and I was like, I've seen a lot of that stuff. I was just like, I don't.
Yeah, but there's tons of
originals up there.
But no, they're starting to do a lot of the original stuff, and that's sort of what I'm leaning towards pulling the trigger, I guess.
And they've been buying up all the independent films that they can to get onto there, which are not produced by Shudder, but produced by foreign companies and all that stuff, and they're putting it all up there. You're not going to go as a horror movie fan, anybody that listens to this podcast, you cannot go wrong with a Shudder subscription.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can always find something on there.
Yeah.
And I keep
I'm sure there's
beating a
just
dead
more to
horse
come.
about it too, but Tubi's free, and there's a lot of good movies on Tubi.
My only complaint about Shudder is the way that they have their menu set up.
Yeah.
They don't have it
garbage.
broken down into types of horror,
No.
and there's no search function. Like you can't like type something in there. Like for
Right.
me to find Verotika, I actually had to type it into my like Fire Stick search because I couldn't find it on Shudder.
Yeah.
Do they have an app for your phone? Because some of those apps, like you got to do it like it's almost like remote on your phone.
Yeah, no,
Nothing.
They're the way their site is set up is not very good. That's my only complaint about Shudder.
Yeah.
It's not easy to find shit.
So they don't have a search. They don't have.
They have an app. You can download the app on your phone. You can download the app on Apple TV, your Fire Stick. You can download it for PlayStation.
Yeah.
They do have an app. Yeah, it's not a great app. The interface.
No, I'm
good.
saying you can't search on even on the app. You can't search.
No, you just got to sit there and scroll through shit. But there's
easily.
The categories aren't even set up in a good way. Like they have like new stuff, popular stuff, psychological. There's only like 5 different categories, and they're just random. Like I'm like, you got to work on this like setup. Like it's a bad setup.
Well, I think the situation is that Shudder isn't fully realized yet. Like they're just beginning.
Yeah.
They're all the stuff that they're putting money into, like Creepshow and some of the original series. They're starting to make money on, and I believe that
they're not spending money on their UI for sure. I guess, right?
Yeah. But I think that'll come. That'll come with time, because really the gold standard for applications for apps out there, believe it or not, is not Netflix. It's HBO Now and HBO Go, HBO Max. They actually borrowed from the actual gold standard, MLB. Major League Baseball's app for viewing stuff, that is the same app that HBO uses. They use the same company, the same source code, because it's a really good video app.
Yeah.
All right, so our rating.
What did we give the dancing one? Did we give that a 1.5?
Yeah, we gave it. Hold on. Let me bring it up. I'll tell you exactly what we gave it.
Because this wasn't as bad. Like
the budget was better. The budget was better on the front, but yeah, no, at least there was I don't know.
I didn't feel anxious watching this.
We gave Climax 2 out of 5 total.
We gave Climax 2. Well, I'm saying it's not as bad, but it's not good either. So I would give this. I'm going to give this a 2 as well.
Yeah.
Same here. I'll give it a 2.
2.
Which is bad. Like if we really don't like something, can we start giving 1s or?
Yeah.
I don't give something a 0 because that's not cool. But
I don't know what happened with Climax, but we gave it a 2 out of 5. I don't recall, but why we did that.
Well, then I'll give this a 2 as well because it wasn't any worse than Climax, but it wasn't better either.
No,
I agree. I am not going to look forward to the second movie.
Although I think we should watch it if it comes out, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we have to.
I'm hoping he learned some sort of lesson.
You have to, right? You have to watch it.
It'll be like drinking the door beers when you go to your friend's house and he's got those beers on the door that like just sit there because no one's drank them for years.
Yeah,
like we'll have to do it. Like say, okay, we got to watch this movie because we watched the first one.
It's like 1 or 2 off brands of beers sitting there that are not part of a full 6-pack anymore.
Yeah, a buddy of mine brought this over. You can have it. Hey, thanks.
Yeah. All right, awesome. So that concludes another episode of the American Nightmare Podcast. Thanks for listening.
All right.
And if you want to give us some feedback, we have feedback at the-american-nightmare.com. You can visit our website. You can visit us on Facebook. Just look for the American Nightmare Podcast. We are also on a whole bunch of services now. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher. You name it, we're going to be there. Do a search for us. If you want us to be added to any other search engines, let us know what you use, and we'll add it.
Tell your friends.
Yep. Thank you again for listening.
Happy
All right,
Halloween.
happy Halloween. Yep.
Yes.
Later, guys.